Dear guests, we're so glad to see you here at our theatrical performance. We're happy today because today you will see the play of a well-known English writer, Oscar Wilde, The Importance of Being Earnest. You see, it's not easy to be professionals, actors and actresses, but our pupils try to do their best today because they're so talented, they're so creative, and they're so close to the art of theater. So, welcome to our world of theater. Дорогие друзья, уважаемые наши гости, мы рады вас видеть сегодня на нашем театральном представлении. Сегодня вы увидите пьесу Оскара Уайльда в сокращенном виде «Как важно быть серьезным». Конечно, не просто играть на сцене, мы не профессиональные актеры и актрисы, но мы стараемся сегодня сделать все самым наилучшим образом. Самое главное, что все наши участники – это талантливые, творческие и очень близкие к искусству ребята. Добро пожаловать в наш мир искусства, в наш мир театра.
Oscar Wilde is one of the most iconic figures in the English literature. His wit, humor and intelligence shine through his plays and writings. For a long time his name was synonymous with scandal and intrigue. He gained his popularity in the genre of comedies of manners. His plays are full of witty paradoxes and dynamism and are always based on some entertaining plot. He said about himself, "I am so clever that sometimes I don't even understand a single word of what I am saying." So, Oscar Wilde, The Importance of Being Earnest. First act. Cast. Ernest Algernon. Ernest and Algernon meet at the party of the representatives of upper classes.
Действие первое. Действующие лица Эрнест и Алджернон. Встреча на вечеринке, где собираются представители высшего общества. Алджернон хочет использовать Эрнеста, дабы улучшить свое материальное положение. Эрнест заинтересован в Алджерноне, так как он влюблен в его двоюродную сестру.
Ernest! Algie! How are you, my dear Ernest? What brings you up to town?
Oh, pleasure, pleasure. What else should bring one anywhere?
Where have you been since last Thursday?
In the country?
Are you always in the country? What on earth do you do there?
Well, when one is in town, one amuses oneself. When one is in the country, one amuses other people. It's awfully boring.
By the way, Shropshire is your country, is it not?
Yes, of course.
Say, dear boy, what plans have you got for tea tomorrow? You know perfectly well that Aunt Augusta is coming to tea tomorrow.
Aunt Augusta?
Yes, Aunt Augusta with Gwendolyn.
How perfectly delightful. Perhaps I might pay my respects.
Yes, that's all very well, but I am a friend, Aunt Augusta. Want a proof of your being there?
Why do you say that?
Oh,
I'm in love with Gwendolyn.
my dear fellow, the way you flirt with Gwendolyn is perfectly disgraceful. It's almost as bad as the way Gwendolyn flirts with you.
I have come to town to propose to her.
Oh,
There is nothing to it, boy. Dear boy, you are not to be invited, and the place is not in Shropshire.
but first I should give my consent.
Your consent?
My dear fellow, Gwendolyn is my cousin, and before I allow you to marry her, we shall have to clear up the question of Cecily.
Cecily? What on earth do you mean?
Well, I mean your work, Miss Cecily Cardew, you look after. What is that place in the country, by the way?
There is nothing to it, boy. You're not to be invited, and the place is not in Shropshire.
Oh, I suspected that, my dear fellow. By the way, what's your name?
Well, it is Ernest in town, and
The second act. Cast. Ernest, Gwendolen, and Lady Bracknell. Ernest proposes Gwendolen to marry her. Lady Bracknell wants to ask questions to Ernest in her house as a possible candidate.
Действие второе. Действующие лица Эрнест и Гвендолин. Леди Брэкнелл. Эрнест делает предложение Гвендолин. Леди Брэкнелл приглашает Эрнеста в свой дом, чтобы узнать больше информации о нем, как о будущем зяте.
charming day it has been, Miss Fairfax.
Pray, don't talk to me about the weather, Mr. Worthy. Whenever people talk to me about the weather, I always feel quite certain that they mean something else. And that makes me so nervous.
I do mean something else,
I thought so. In fact, I'm never wrong.
and I would like to take advantage of Lady Bracknell's temporary absence.
I would certainly advise you to do so. Mama has a way of coming back suddenly into the room that I have often had to speak to her about.
Miss Fairfax, ever since I met you, I have admired you more than any girl I have ever met since I met you.
Yes, I'm quite well aware of the fact. And I often wish that in public, at any rate, you had been more demonstrative. For me, you have always had an irresistible fascination. Even before I met you, I was far from indifferent to you. We live, as I hope you know, Mr. Worthing, in the age of ideals. And my ideal was always to love someone with the name of Ernest. There is something in that name that inspires absolute confidence. I knew I was destined to love you,
You really love me, Gwendolen.
passionately,
Darling, you don't know how happy you've made me.
my own Ernest.
But you don't mean to say you couldn't love me if my name wasn't Ernest.
But your name is Ernest.
Yes, I know it is, but supposing it was something else. Do you mean to say you couldn't love me then? Personally, darling, to speak quite candidly, I don't much care about the name of Ernest. I don't think the name suits me at all.
It suits you perfectly. It is a divine name. It has a music of its own. It produces vibrations.
Well, really, but there are many other names. I think Jack, for instance, a charming name.
Jack? No, no, no. There is very little music in the name Jack. If any at all, indeed. It doesn't thrill. It produces absolutely no vibrations. I have known several Jacks, and they all, without exception, were more than usually plain. The only really safe name is Ernest.
Gwendolen, we must get married at once. There's no time to be lost.
Married, Mr. Worthing?
Well, really, you know that I love you, Miss Fairfax. And I know that you are not absolutely indifferent to me.
I adore you, but I haven't proposed to him yet. Nothing has been said at all about marriage. The subject hasn't even been touched on.
Well, may I propose to you now?
Yes, I think it would be an admirable opportunity.
Gwendolen,
Yes, Mr. Worthing, what have you got to say to me?
you know what I have got to say to you.
Yes, but you don't say it.
Gwendolen, will you marry me?
Mr. Worthing, rise up from this semi-recumbent posture. It is most indecorous.
Mama, I must beg you to retire. Mr. Worthing hasn't quite finished yet.
Finished what, may I ask?
I'm engaged to Mr. Worthing, Mama.
Pardon me, you're not engaged to anyone. When you do become engaged to someone, I, or your father, should his health permit him, will inform you of the fact. An engagement should come on a young girl as a surprise, pleasant or unpleasant, as the case may be. And you, Gwendolen, will wait for me below in the carriage.
Mama!
The carriage, Gwendolen! Gwendolen, the carriage! I feel bound to tell you that you are now down on my list of eligible young men. However, I'm quite ready to enter your name as a possible candidate. Perhaps you would attend meeting at my house at 11 o'clock tomorrow morning. I shall have a few questions to put to you.
Yes, Lady Bracknell.
The third act. Cast. Ernest, Lady Bracknell. Lady Bracknell's house. Lady Bracknell asks questions to Ernest about his private life. Some facts of his life makes her surprised and astonished.
Действие третье. Действующие лица Эрнест и леди Брэкнелл. Леди Брэкнелл задает вопросы Эрнесту о его личной жизни. И некоторые факты вызывают негодование и удивление.
You can take a seat, Mr. Worthing.
Thank you, Lady Bracknell. I prefer standing.
Do you smoke?
Well, yes, I must admit I smoke.
I'm pleased to hear it. A man should always have an occupation of some kind. How old are you?
29.
A very good age to be married at. I have always been of opinion that a man who desires to get married should know either everything or nothing. Which do you know?
I know nothing, Lady Bracknell.
I'm glad to hear it. I do not approve anything that tampers with the natural ignorance. And ignorance is like a delicate exotic fruit. Touch it and the bloom is gone. What's your income?
Between 7 and 8,000 a year.
In land or in investments?
In investments, chiefly.
No, that is satisfactory.
Well, yes, I have a country house with some land, of course.
You own a townhouse, I hope. A girl with a simple and spoiled nature like Gwendolyn can hardly be regarded to reside in the country.
Well, I own a house in Belgrade Square.
What number on Belgrade Square?
149.
A fashionable site. I thought there was something. However, it can easily be changed.
Do you mean the fashion or the site?
Both, if necessary, I presume. Are your parents living?
I have lost both my parents.
Both? To lose one parent, Mr. Worthing, can be regarded as a misfortune. To lose both seems a carelessness. Who was your father?
I'm afraid I really don't know. I don't actually know who I was. I was found.
Found?
Yes, Mr. Thomas Cadio, an old gentleman, found and gave me the name of Wozin. Wozin is a place in Sussex. It is a seaside resort.
Where did this charitable gentleman find you?
In a handbag.
A handbag?
Yes, Lady Bracknell, I was in a handbag, a somewhat large, black leather handbag, with handles to it. An ordinary handbag, in fact.
In what locality?
In the cloakroom at Victoria Station.
The cloakroom at Victoria Station?
Yes, the Brighton line.
The line is immaterial, Mr. Worthing. I confess I feel somewhat bewildered by what you have just told me. To be born, or at any rate bred, in a handbag, whether it had handles or not, seems to me rather strange. as for the particular locality in which the handbag was found. It can hardly be regarded as an assured basis for recognized position in good society.
May I ask you then, what would you advise me to do? I need hardly say I would do anything in the world to ensure Gwendolyn's happiness.
I would strongly advise you, Mr. Worthing, to try and acquire some relations as soon as possible, and to make a definite effort to produce at any rate one parent of either sex before the season is quite over.
Well, I don't see how I could possibly manage to do that. I can produce the handbag at any moment. It is in my dressing room at my home. I really think that it should satisfy you at right now.
Me, sir? What have you to do with me? You can hardly imagine that I and Lord Bracknell would dream of allowing our only daughter, the girl brought up with an utmost care, to marry into a cloakroom and to form an alliance with a parcel. Good morning, Mr. Worthing.
Good morning.
Cecily and Gwendolyn, Ernest and Algernon, a servant. Meeting Gwendolyn with Cecily. They are in a confusing situation. They seem to be deceitful, but love is the force which solves any problem.
Действие четвертое. Действующие лица. Сесили и Гвендолин, Эрнест и Элджинон. Дворецкий. Встреча Гвендолин и Сесили. Они находятся в затруднительном положении. Им кажется, что они обмануты. Но любовь – это сила, которая решает любую проблему. Miss Gwendolyn Fairfax has called to see Mr. Walling on very important business.
Mr. Worthing is going out to be soon. So, Merryman, please kindly bring me some tea.
Yes, miss.
Oh, Miss Fairfax, pray let me introduce myself to you. My name is Cecily Cardew.
Thank you.
Sit down, please.
Thank you. Cecily Cardew? What a very sweet name. Something tells me we're going to be great friends. And my first impressions of people are never wrong.
Thank you.
You're here on a short visit, I suppose.
Oh no, I live here.
And your mother, relatives of advanced years live here also?
Oh no, I have no mother, no, in fact, any relatives, but my dear guardian takes care of me.
Your guardian?
Yes, I'm Mr. Bodenward. He takes care of me.
Oh, it's strange. He never mentioned it. How secretly of him. Ernest has a strong, upright nature. He's full of truth and honor.
Oh, but it is not Mr. Ernest Warden who is my guardian.
Well, are you sure that it's not Mr. Warden who is your guardian?
Quite sure. In fact, I'm going to be his.
I beg your pardon?
No, Mr. Warden. Mr. Warden and I are engaged to be married.
Oh, my darling Cecily, there must be some slight error. Mr. Ernest Warden is engaged to me.
I'm afraid you are mistaken. Mr. Ernest proposed to me exactly 10 minutes ago.
From this moment I felt that you are false and deceitful.
It seems to me that you have many other affairs in the neighborhood. Ernest! You are back so soon. May I ask you, Ernest, are you engaged to be married to this young lady?
What young lady? Gwendolyn? Of course not. What put such an idea in your pretty little head?
Thank you.
Miss Cardew, this is my cousin, Mr. Algernon Moncrief.
Algernon Moncrief?
Yes, here is Ernest. Oh, my own Ernest.
Gwendolyn, my darling.
The man whose arm is around your waist is my guardian, Mrs. Jack Worthing.
Jack Worthy?
This is Uncle Jack.
Jack?
Are you Algie?
Is your name really Jack?
I cannot deny it.
I could deny it, but it has been Jack for years.
Oh, dear Cecily, a gross deception has been practiced on both of us. Oh, my poor wounded Cecily.
Oh, my wrong Gwendolyn, my sweet sister, let us go into the house. They will hardly follow us there.
How can you sit there calmly eating muffins when we are in this horrible trouble? It's perfectly hopeless.
When I'm in trouble, eating is my only consolation. I refuse everything. Food, except food and drink. At the present moment, I'm eating muffins. Because I'm unhappy.
Give them to me. Well, I certainly don't trade your chances with my wife, Cecily.
I think don't there is much likelihood of you, Jack, and Miss Fairfax being united.
No, after you. No, you go first. I'm not really very good at the high bits. Much better there. Oh, we'll see. 1, 2. The western wind is blowing back across the dark Aegean Sea, and the secret marble stare, my Tyrian galley waits for thee. Come down the purple sail spread, the watchman sleeps within the town. Oh, leave their lily flower bed, oh, lady mine, come down, lady, come down, lady, come down. Oh, lady, come down. She will not come, I know your way of loveless vows. She has no care, and little good a man can tell of one so cruel and so fair. True love is but a woman's toy. They never know their lover's pain. And I who loves a boy, must love in vain, must love in vain. Come down, lady, come down, come down, lady, come down.
Cecily, Algernon, prison. Prison clears up the situation about Ernest's relatives, Jack by those, as well that ends well.
Действие 5. Действующие лица: леди Брэкнелл, Эрнест и Гвендолин, Джек и Сесили, Элджинон и Призм. Призм проясняет ситуацию о родственниках Эрнеста, имя которого Джек от рождения. Но все хорошо, что хорошо кончается.
Your Christian names are an insuperable barrier. That is all.
Our Christian names? Is that all? We are going to be Christian this afternoon.
My darling.
Gwendolyn, what does it mean?
Mary, I am engaged to be married to Mr. Worthing, Mama.
Come here. Sit down. Sit down immediately.
Lady Bracknell, I'm engaged to be married with Gwendolyn.
You're not enough a kind, sir. And now I'd better ask, who that young person?
The lady is Miss Cecily Cardew, my ward.
I beg your pardon? Gwendolyn, we must go. And as a matter of form, Miss Cardew hasn't little fortune.
I'm Miss Cardew's guardian. I'm Miss Cardew's guardian. She cannot be married without my consent. About 130,000 in the fund. That is all. Goodbye, Lady Bracknell. Be pleased to have seen you.
Moment, Mr. Worthing. 110,000 pounds? And in pounds? Oh, you're so attractive, young lady. Come here. LG?
Yes, Aunt Augusta.
Well, I think I can give my consent.
But I must interrupt you.
Aunt Augusta.
But I must interrupt you, Lady Bracknell. I am Miss Cardew's guardian. She cannot be married without my consent.
I beg you to reconsider your decision.
Dear Lady Bracknell, if you allow me to be married to Gwendolyn, I will allow your nephew to form an alliance with my ward.
It's out of the question.
Cecily, it was time to learn English.
Prism? Is it you? Prism? Is it really you? Where is that baby, Prism? He never returned. Where is that baby?
Lady Bracknell, I admit with shame, I don't know. In the moment of mental abstraction, for which I never can forgive myself, I put the manuscript in the bassinet and played the baby in the handbag.
Put the manuscript in the bassinet and played the baby in the handbag.
I want the baby you placed in it.
You?
Yes, mother.
Mr. Worthing, there is some mistake. I'm unmarried.
And where did you place the handbag?
I played the baby on Victoria Stations.
What railway station?
The Brighton line.
Eat this, the handbag, Miss Prism. Examine it carefully before you speak. The happiness depends on your answer.
The bag is undoubtedly mine.
I was a baby you placed in.
Not, it is mistake.
Well... Lady Bracknell, who was my father? Was I christened?
Mr. Worthing, I can tell you who you are. You're the son of my poor sister, Mrs. Moncrief, and so you're the eldest younger brother.
So, I have a brother after all?
Yes.
My brother! This is my brother! He's my brother!
And now you may hug your Aunt Augusta.
Oh...
And as for your father, he's a general, a man of peace. You can find his name in military directory.
Lieutenants, captains, colonels, generals, mobs, Max, Moncrief, Lieutenant 1860. Christian names. I was told you, Gwendolyn, my name was Ernest, didn't I?
Moncrief Jack. You seem to be displaying signs of triviality.
On the contrary, Aunt Augusta, I have now realized what the vital importance of being earnest.
Thank you very much for your attention. Our theatre performance is gone. Thank you.